Hi, I'm Tycho and this is Mubin, and we're here to give you an introduction to Tyranids in 10th edition 40k. Look, there's Tyranids!
All the bugs, big bugs, small bugs.
Your favorite of the big bugs, right?
Yeah, I like my big bugs.
You don't like the little bugs?
I don't mind the little bugs, but there's just something about running Monster Mash, Nidzilla, whatever you want to call it.
Meaty king crab, not little shrimp poppers.
Exactly.
Yes. All right, Mubin, you've been playing Tyranids for a while. What can people expect from a Tyranid army?
For me, the way I've seen Tyranids is because they're constantly evolving, adapting, faction. They kind of have multiple play styles. You can play them as all shooty. You want to run full swarms of bugs running full bore melee at you. If you want to just run nothing but the biggins, you can do it all. And it's nice, it's varied, and there's a lot of choices to pick from.
Their army rule supports that 100%.
Absolutely.
You now get to pick your adaptation right at the start of the battle. When you see the enemy models, you're like, ooh, he's got too many vehicles. I better do lethal hits.
Yep.
Yes.
You got lots of Gribblies, sustained hits.
Exactly. So you can actually adapt to your enemy on the fly. That's an amazing Tyranid concept that is exemplified beautifully in the games we've seen.
That's definitely one thing I have to say is a lot of times we all have this canon, this fluff that we've developed from reading the codexes, reading books, whatever it is. And we have this idea, and I feel like looking over what 10th edition is bringing for Tyranids, it kind of fits that theme. You get that adaptive, you get
bugs.
Yeah, you get the bugs, you get
the endless swarm.
And you get to pick your play style. It's just so good.
And you get to play those Screamer Killers. Look at this guy,
Oh, the new Screamer Killer is so pretty.
So, what's exciting about this other than that it fits the theme of Tyranids so well? What excites you about this index? Specifically, like, is it new stuff? Or is it some of the things they've done to the monsters you know and love?
It's a little bit of both, because, again, like, the Screamer Killer, it's just cool, it's new, exciting. Even the Neuro Tyrant has its purpose with the new index.
And if you like Cthulhu, I mean, come on.
Yeah, that is so Cthulhu, it's great. I mean, the next closest thing is the Toxicrene. A few notable models that I'd like to point out. Swarmlord, for me, he's just an auto-include. He's going to be in my list every chance I get.
And massively thematic. Being able to generate command points in every command phase.
Again, I feel like he is a true hive commander now, and it's great.
And he can mess up your commands. So
your enemies.
That's what I mean. So he can actually affect the enemy's ability to use command points to affect your army. He gets to make an enemy stratagem cost an extra after it's been used once, which is super powerful. I want to talk a little about Tyranifex.
Ooh, the good old Tyranifex.
This is a big pile of amazing guns and statistics that I think I am never going to leave home without. The Tyranifex is a huge monster with massive, really super effective weaponry, and with a huge wound pool, high toughness, 2-up armor save. This thing
and damage reduction built in now.
Yeah, I know. I think you're going to see a lot of the Tyranifex coming forward. He's going to really feel like the unstoppable creature of doom that he is.
Again, like I've mentioned, I love running the big bugs. I've always, every list I've always had one with the acid spray, one with the rupture cannon, and I think it's going to continue.
Mr. Pew and Mr. Spew.
Yep, that's aptly named, and that's what they're there for.
The Tyranid Warrior. They are synapse creatures.
Yep.
Now if you have the keyword synapse, it's going to make your leadership tests happen on 3d6 as opposed to 2d6. This is a big change. It means that Battle Shock is not going to affect you anywhere near as much.
That's another thing I want to touch on with regards to running the big bugs, the Nidzilla lists as we used to call them, is now synapse matters. Because they have objective control values. It's super key to have that synapse sprinkled out, because you can't just run around with Tyranifexes just going around and trying to hold things, because you fail a battle shock test and all of a sudden you're not holding that objective anymore.
And Tyranids in general have pretty poor leadership. Even the big bugs have leaderships 8s and 9s and
stuff. It's tough.
So they're going to fail once they're below half wounds. So this is a big change from editions before, in that you're going to be taking battle shock tests when you're below half strength, or just caused to by enemy rules. So that's going to be really important to stay in synapse range, like your Swarmlords, like your Tyranid Warriors.
Or like the new Neuro Tyrant,
who spreads it around even farther. He gets to send his little tentacles.
Exactly. You're like, you get one, and you get one, and everybody gets one.
It's the Oprah of the Tyranid range. Some other great new units are the Barb Gaunts. These guys slow enemies down just by hitting them. So a unit of 5 of them could technically slow down 5 enemy units by 2 inches apiece. That is terrifying. So you might be able to
That is so much split firing, I think it would drive even Nick insane.
Split fire forever! What other interesting new abilities have you noticed in this index that you think might surprise people on the tabletop?
Ooh, more of an army role, but another ability that really stood out to me was Shadows in the Warp. In previous editions, only really came into play when you played against enemy psychers, which was usually, it was okay, but it was really limited and only affected certain armies.
And it was just kind of a cheap -1. It didn't like do much, it just made enemy spells go off less.
Yeah, but now being a once per game, causing a battle shock test across your entire opponent's army. Doesn't matter who you're playing against, it has a purpose now. And if you bring the Neuro Tyrant, it just makes it that much better.
Because that's -1, enemy leadership for that battle shock test, just flat across the whole enemy army.
As an ability, I think that's a fantastic change. And again, it's just that terrifying presence, that shadow. It fits, it's thematic, and like I said, it has purpose.
Now, I noticed a few things that were interesting about the Tyranid list in terms of leadership. Broodlords and going with Gene Stealers.
Yes.
So these are scouting models that have 2 wounds apiece now, are pretty hard to get rid of, are going to be able to get up into the map and score objectives early and be a serious threat with rerolling to wound on their claws. I think Gene Stealers are going to be a bit back. With their Broodlord in particular. And you might have to see a couple of those out of me for sure.
Now that I actually have 2 Broodlords, I might have to put them to use.
I got 2 too. And a whole herd of Gene Stealers. So.
I got like 40-something Gene Stealers.
I think I got you beat.
Yeah, probably. Again, I like the big ones better.
Yes. I think we both like the big bugs. Another great inclusion that I think I'm gonna be seeing a lot of are the Venom Thropes. The Venom Thropes are fantastic. They combine with all the infantry in your army. They give them stealth and cover wherever they're at. It's a good combination to make things a lot harder to kill, especially the toughness 3.
When you're running all the little guys, when you are running that horde.
Venom Thropes are gonna be the
That's gonna be amazing.
to get them to the combat fast and efficient.
Speaking of Thropes, I actually have to point out the Zone Thropes.
The Zoanthrope.
We don't have any on the table here, but they brought back something that I actually really enjoyed from previous editions called Warp Blast.
Right.
Where you got to either do multiple attacks or just one big focused attack of psychic energy.
But they all do it now.
It's
Each
just
one has its own
Yeah.
zap. They're not just one spell like they have been for the whole last one.
Yeah, everyone gets to do it because they're all brain bugs. And they've combined the Neurothrope back into the unit as a sergeant almost.
Okay.
And it still allows you to kill models and heal with mortal wounds.
Siphon their brain juices from the car. Nice.
There's so many options, so many choices, and so many different styles to pick from. It's just a matter of finding what you like, trying out things that you like, and going from there.
So, Mubin, you mentioned you wanted to do a monster mash. Loving that idea. Now, what do you need to do or bring to make a successful monster mash list?
I mentioned it earlier, and I still think even running Monster Mash and bringing Synapse into question, a big factor to that is still going to be having a big Synapse creature like the Swarm Lord, a Flying Hive Tyrant, even the Maliceptor. He's still one of my favorites. I'll still be bringing him to the party. But you're going to need those key big Synapse monsters again, and you're going to want to make sure that you can get around and provide that Synapse where you can.
We've actually lost one big Synapse monster. There's no Trigon Prime anymore.
That's true.
This guy is just a Trigon now.
He's just Trigon
doesn't
now.
get Synapse, which is a loss.
That's okay. He does other things. He tunnels in and does murdery things.
He does murdery things with claws to excellence. So I think you're still going to see the Trigon running around, but he is not what he once was in terms of being a good Synapse beast and leader of large units coming through his own tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
That seems to be kind of gone too. Now, there's some cool stratagems to bring little guys back from the dead. So I think that you're definitely going to see some really cool, like endless carpets of Gaunt type strategies as well. Basically, the foil to the Monster Mash. Doing the Gribbly Horde might be a lot of fun. And Gaunts are cheap, so you're gonna get a lot of them.
I think I've got like 90 something sitting at home.
Oh, how many painted?
About 30?
About 30.
I started on them and then I realized, oh, there's more Tyranids coming.
I gotta say
Oh, boy.
that the new Termagant sculpts are fantastic. And same with the Neurogaunts.
All the new sculpts from the Leviathan box set are just amazing.
And super easy to put together. Don't even need glue. If I were to start Tyranids today, I think that I would be going Monster Mash. I think that playing with big, crazy, mean alien monsters is a lot of fun and really exemplifies what Tyranids can do and is a pretty user-friendly approach to the game. You don't have to remember all the rules for as many models when the models are really large, meaning you're going to have a few less of them. So yeah, I think I'd start with the Tyranifex. He's a lot of fun to paint. He's going to do you right in every single game you put him in, and would be a fantastic first purchase if you were looking into starting a Tyranid army. Or a Swarmlord.
Yeah, no, Swarmlord is always another fantastic choice. Hive Tyrant in general is a fantastic choice.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with one of two very different options as far as starting off goes. We have the Leviathan box set right in front, like all the stuff from the Leviathan box set right in front of us. I have to say, that's probably the most balanced way to start right now, because you've got a few big monsters in it, you've got a bunch of smaller models in there, so you can kind of experiment and get a bit of both worlds. But if you don't want to go quite full bore, go Leviathan, I still think the Combat Patrol's a good starting point.
Absolutely.
Combat Patrols are always a great starting point for any army. The Leviathan box set, fantastic place, because again, just so many models out of that box set. But if you don't want to quite invest as heavily, I think Combat Patrol and then getting yourself something like the Tyranifex, or really just any other big bug that just catches your attention and draws you in, that's the way to go for me.
That's a really good piece of advice. Pick the models that you really want to paint, that you think are really cool, the ones that you're going to want to put on the table over and over again.
Yep.
The ones that are going to get a little personal touch, a little name, a little, you know, you're going to remember.
Like Mr. Pew and Mr. Spew.
Exactly. You remember the heroics from
Yes.
past games. And instill fear into your opponents at the particular models that you're bringing to the table. It's always a great, fun way to approach
Absolutely.
the Tyranids. You're playing the unstoppable horde. You're playing the existential threat to the entire galaxy.
The
You're gonna
ferocious
eat it all.
monster.
Yeah.
The big bad of the Fourth Tyrannic War.
Absolutely. Big bad, kind of full stop. There's
Yeah,
nothing
actually, that's
scarier
true.
than Tyranids in 40K. So we got to take a look at a bunch of beautiful Tyranids today. And we really hope that you're into Tyranids too. And we'll go take a look at some of the amazing new sculpts they're coming out with. But until we see y'all next time, in the grim dark of a far-flung future,
Play on.